a new program. It's called From Book to Bank. It's about how to write a book and create 100 grand. I've done it. I've helped others do it. And it's easier today than it's ever been for obvious reasons. We've got AI, we've got all kinds of reach on social media, and we've got a more active and engaged social media audience than ever before. Now, it's true, there's all kinds of noise and garbage that goes on, and trolling and fake accounts and bots. Even with all that, it's not that difficult to gather your real tribe. So go there if you're interested. Or if you have a book already and you wrote it and it's like, so what? Nothing happened. Dreambuildwriteit.com. I don't want to talk about that today. That wasn't the point, but it is an invitation. The other invitation is this, yourultimatelifepodcast.com. It's a top 3% podcast in the world. I'm excited about that, and the rankings are going up. But the point isn't even that. The point is your ultimate life. You can live the life you want. I don't know, maybe you are. I love every day of my life. I get up vibrant, excited, and I'm stoked all day long, no matter what happens. Doesn't matter. Everything, whether I would have viewed it before as a bonus or a setback, you know what? I overcome errors, learn from setbacks, and I embrace trials as sacred teachers because they are. So I want to talk about something funny today. I hear this all the time, and you do too. So if you're online and you have business online, you hear it too. Is there a recording? Is there, yeah, no, I can't come. Is there a recording? And 99% of the time people say, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a recording. Because the feeling is, I want you to come. I want you to enroll. I want you to do whatever. And, you know, if I have to give you a recording, oh, well, you know what's true? Nobody watches the recording. Nobody does this. Nobody watches the recording. Maybe 1%. And maybe you kid yourself and think you'll be the 1%. But here's the truth. Whatever you do, that's what's most important to you. And so whatever you have scheduled or whatever comes up, you or I, we judge that as important right now. So I'm not passing judgment about people not watching the recording. What I am saying is pay attention. How many recordings do you watch? When there's a recording. I don't. And we track them. Okay, I'm not just speaking glibly. We track recordings. We put them on YouTube as unlisted, and we track the recordings because YouTube tracks it for us. Watch time, the recording, when people stop, and all the rest. So we know exactly how many people watch the recordings and how much of them. So I want you to think about this. And I'm not saying it's bad to provide recordings. This isn't judgment. But I want you to think about how you choose to spend your time. Because another fallacy of watch the recording is you're pretending to multitask. So you've got a commitment, or you said you'd do something, or you want to do something, and something comes up and it's like, oh, yeah, I want to do that too. Is there a recording? Right? And so what you're doing is you're telling yourself, I'll watch that recording. And so what you're doing is pretending to multitask. Not by doing it at the same time, but that you'll find place later. Your schedule doesn't have empty spots. Recording watching. What we do, is we say, I'll watch the recording, and we think we'll squeeze it in somewhere when we've just got a free minute, some downtime. And that doesn't happen any more than it happens when you say, well, I'm going to clean the garage this weekend, or I'm going to paint the bedroom. And if you don't plan it and you don't block everything else out and you don't buy the paint and you don't get ready, it doesn't happen. And week after week after week after week, it doesn't happen. You know that, and I know that. So I just want to call that out for a minute. It's an observation, not an indictment or a judgment. Instead, here's what I would recommend. Make a choice. Is this thing important to you? And if it is, move the other thing. Right? Move the other thing. Make whatever arrangements you need to move the other thing. Well, I can't. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You know, sometimes you can't, or sometimes you judge and say, and we should, no, that is important to me, but this is more important. Now, you have to decide, is this actually more important or it's just inconvenient and I don't want to disappoint anybody and I don't want to go through the inconvenience of telling somebody I can't do this or I won't be there. Or, oh, that's not a criteria for sound judgment, because then what you've done is you've given away your power. You've put something that's more important off because you don't like the inconvenience. Wow. Think about that. So I'm letting inconveniences run my life. Inconvenience. I got an email today from a good friend of mine who sends me daily email, and I love him. Judging something as inconvenient is such a weak ass mental state. Now, you may be completely happy with your life, but if you're busy building your ultimate life, like I am, and like people I work with are, and people I help write books and all the rest, if you're busy building that life of purpose, prosperity, and joy, and making your impact in the world, then inconvenience is an irrelevance. So I invite you to consider that later, when you say later, all you're doing is avoiding discomfort. You might be avoiding a momentary conversation to make an adjustment. Later, it avoids commitment. I'll do it later. That you're avoiding finding out who you really are. There's something that happens when I help people write their books every single time, without exception. They say, wow, I had no idea. I've completely changed my view of myself, my relationship to the formative events in my life. It happens 100% of the time, and always in a positive direction, always with power. With more power to create cash, to create a difference in the world, and to create joy in your heart. So here's the other thing. Information is not the problem. If you're if you're watching videos, mine or anybody else's, to get some good content, you're wasting your time. The gap in your life is not knowledge. It's willingness. 100% of the time. You already know what to do. And the what to do might be, you know exactly where to go to find out exactly what to do. It's the willingness to do it. And, it's funny because as I make these videos and say this stuff, I've got a mirror right here, because all of these things have been powerful things in my life that got in the way all the time, day after day, month after month, year after year, until I learned the very things I'm sharing with you. I have a bulletproof, non-negotiable list of things that are absolute number one priority. God in my service, my beautiful angel wife, Joy, serving and loving my clients, my kids, who I love to death, and their kids. And I didn't necessarily put those in order. Those are the first things. And right after that is my not clients, you. I'm reaching 300 million. You heard that right, 300 million people with a message. And the message is your own worth, your divine identity, your infinite possibility, the truth of owning your life, and the sovereignty that you have about creating your life. WIPOS, WIPOS, right? A funny word. But that's the message. And I have both the tools, the programs, the infrastructure, and the process to help you change the world with those truths. One of them is writing a book. Dream, build, write it. If you haven't considered the power that you have in the story of your becoming, boy, you're missing out on cash, joy, and impact. The last thing I want to say is, when you think about this recording culture, and I equate that to the later idea, it's self-deception. It's not that recordings are bad. I have watched, I won't say I've never watched them. There are some that I watch and watch over and over again, just like I read the scriptures over and over again. It's like I pray over and over again. Why? Because each time I learn something new, each time I read important books or sacred literature, I'm like, oh, wow, it hits me in a new way. Not because the words are different, but because I'm different. I'm a different person. Different experiences, different mood, different temperament, different state at that moment. So let's get honest. Here's my invitation. Be honest in two ways. Don't say you'll watch the recording, and don't ask for them. Period. Unless in those extremely rare circumstances, whatever it is that is going to be presented is very important to you And this other one that you've already got scheduled is really a non-negotiable, not an inconvenience. And then you'll immediately watch the recording. In fact, you'll schedule time on your calendar to do it. That's the difference. If now isn't the time, then just say that to yourself. Don't do the game. Because as soon as you start the I'll do it later, you're lying to yourself. And there is so much damage that we all do when we tell ourselves stories. So I love you. I yearn for your success, your growth, your cash. My goal, I'm creating, not only reaching 300 million, but I'm creating 3,000 millionaires and 300 deca millionaires. 10 million, right? That's what I am creating in the world. Why? Not to brag about money or even to do that, but because we need to gather the resources to add good to the world. If you want to find out how to be one of those 3,000 or 300, yourultimatelifepodcast.com, there's a contact form. Reach out to me. Let me share with you how to do that, because you can. Your possibility is infinite. I'll see you tomorrow.